Hey guys, Andy from Backbone Adventures in Estes Park, Colorado. I own an ATV and Jeep rental company. So today I want to talk to you about the Forest Service Outfitter Pilot Program, which is something that I think is extremely important to, to every type of use in the national forest, whether you're into hiking, mountain bike riding, horseback riding, ATVs, dirt bikes, or Jeeps, hunting, fishing, whatever it is, climbing any use that you do in a national forest or on your public land, that pilot program is extremely important, and it's not being utilized at all in the Front Range, and it should be. Before I get into that, and actually, let me give you a little bit of history first. The pilot program was initiated at Obama's second term, at the end of his second term in December of 2016. And again, it's not being utilized along the Front Range. So that's the history on it. If you want to look it up, you can just go to Google search and do Forest Service Outfitter Program, and the first thing that'll show up will be a link to the Forest Service website that talks about that program. So I suggest you take a look at that, see where it's being utilized and is not being utilized. For example, here in Colorado, it's being utilized in a couple of spots down in the San Juans and a couple of spots up near Medicine Bow. Two areas that don't have near the use that we have here. As you all know, that the use along the Front Range is it's very exaggerated. There's a lot of use, and it requires that outfitter program, in my opinion. Before I get into some of those details there, let me just address the elephant in the room. I own an ATV and Jeep rental company, and to some people, I'm the bad guy. A little bit of history on me. I was given a Forest Service permit, offered a Forest Service permit in 2015, and I operated on that permit for 5 years, just a little over 5 years. Unfortunately, that permit came along with my competitor at the time, who was given the same permit. Our permits were tied together for some reason or another. I still don't understand why. But we operated on the same trail system. Unfortunately, we operated in two completely different ways. I was very proud of the work that we did, the cleanup, the maintenance, the repairs. Did a lot of it. It's nothing better than living and working in the mountains. I really enjoyed that work. But when you're operating next to someone who is doing the exact opposite and not maintaining the use that they were permitted for, a limited use, and instead quadrupling that use, it made for a bad situation. And unfortunately, both those permits went away because they were tied together. I'm not very happy about that, but it is what it is, and there's a lot of misconceptions about that. A lot of people viewed that as one company, as well, I guess they should. I don't think the two permits should have been issued at the same time on the same trail, and it certainly should have been regulated. Some of you know that history, and that's the only reason I'm bringing it up to clear the air on that, to tell you the truth about that situation. We did a lot of work, and there is a lot of work that's needed every single day, picking up bags and bags of trash from every type of use. Certainly ATV riders pitch a bottle of water out of their vehicle, and they sometimes go off trail, and there's damage there. Campers leaving their campsite, leaving their tents and their trash and their beer bottles and everything else, leaving campfires smoldering, sometimes burning. In 2019, we actually put out a forest fire. We were the first on the scene. It had taken about an acre of land. We surrounded it with shovels and went to work and got it contained. That's what outfitters are supposed to do. I can't tell you how many toilets I cleaned out of the forest. People come up camping or whatever, or just four-wheeling or spend the day climbing or whatever, and bring a toilet with them. Literally a toilet from their bathroom, an old toilet they'd uninstalled or whatever, and bring it up and utilize it for what it's supposed to be, what it's meant for. And somebody's got to take that out. That's a disgusting job. Let me tell you. We cleaned everything out of that forest you could think of. Stoves, refrigerators, I don't know, TVs. Every week there was a new TV, smashed, shot up, whatever, in a million pieces out there. Sometimes those big old huge box TVs that people got rid of to get flat screens, just all over the place. No better place to dump it. Who's going to catch you? Who's going to do anything about it? Somebody's got to be there to clean that stuff up. The off-trail activity from ATVs, dirt bike riders, jeepers, they go off-trail sometimes. And that trail needs to be repaired. It needs to be repaired, and it needs to be blocked. And it needs to be blocked with natural obstacles, rocks and trees, stuff they can't winch out of the way. So you got to do it in a certain way. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, into maintaining a trail system or a particular section of national forest as an outfitter. I took a lot of pride in that. Unfortunately, my competitor didn't, and it was a constant battle. And it put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. And I don't think, in all honesty, I don't think the Forest Service did right by offering 2 permits like that on a small trail system. It was just way too much use. So that's the elephant in the room I wanted to address. If you have any questions or comments about that, you can certainly put them down below, and I'll answer anything I can. I would like everybody to know the truth. I really love. I grew up on Storm Mountain. I still live here today. I love the mountains. I like them to stay beautiful and clean, and I like to see the uses be very sustainable. If there's any way I can be involved in that, and still, even though I don't have a permit today, I'm always on a different trail system, picking up trash or cleaning or maintaining any way I can, just because it's the right thing to do, and I like to see it stay that way. It's something I enjoy personally doing in my off time. And I'll often bring my wife and daughter with, or a friend or whoever, even if I'm out riding myself on my dirt bike or a mountain bike, or if I'm hiking, or if I'm in a Jeep. I see something on a trail, I'm going to stop and I'm going to pick it up. I see a campfire smoldering, I'm going to stop and I'm going to take care of it. So, at any rate, just wanted to address that real quick. So let's get back to the pilot program. Everybody that's watching this, you're going to be into a different thing, a different type of recreation on your public land. Like I said, you might be into hiking, mountain biking, four-wheeling, ATV riding, dirt bikes, climbing, fishing, hunting, whatever. You're all into different things. We need to respect one another in all the things we're into. I'm not into climbing, for example, but I respect climbers, and they should have their use, and they should be respected. A lot of people would say, some people would say that, you just need to get rid of ATV riding. Just need to get rid of the Jeeps. That's damaging to the trails. Well, these trails have been around for longer than you and I. Most of the OHV, off-highway vehicle trails, just about all of them in the National Forest, were made well over 100 years ago by miners, loggers. These trails have been around for a long time, been utilized by off-highway vehicles for longer than you and I have been alive. They're not going to go away, and they shouldn't go away. That's a respected use. That's a use, an authorized use that some other people are into, and we need to respect that. Now you can say, well, we should take some away. We should limit it. Well, that's not going to do us any good. You take away a trail, you limit it, and everybody's going to end up on fewer trails, causing more damage, rather than dispersing it and making it easier to maintain across the board. But that requires, in my opinion, to have outfitters on. I believe there should be an outfitter operating on the pilot program on every National Forest trail, National Forest area along the Front Range. The Forest Service, admittedly so, doesn't have the manpower, the resources, or the funds to be able to maintain their areas. If you go to that website, you'll see they actually even talk about it. They have a huge backlog, and it's a major problem. And it's a disservice to you and I. It's a disservice to everyone involved, including the Forest Service, to not utilize that pilot program. Now, the idea behind the pilot program is that an outfitter is operating on a particular area. They're going to pay a percentage of their gross sales for operating there. Now, with the pilot program, they get a credit on that, so they don't pay as much in fees. And that credit is against any money they may have spent and time they've spent doing the work, doing what they're permitted to do. With the cleaning and maintaining and repairing. Now, addressing something else, there are a lot of outfitters out there that don't do anything. They just go up there, go to their area, do their business, make their money, and that's it. And that's a disservice. If you're operating on, if a business is operating on public land, they should be giving back to some degree. And that's what this pilot program is about. Now, I think if an outfitter is operating in a particular area and they're not doing any of that work, or they're not up to par, their permit should be taken away. It should be taken away immediately. And I think to some degree that's up to us to police as well. If we see it happening, if we see an outfitter just taking and taking and taking and using and not giving back, we need to call them out on it. Contact them personally. Talk to the Forest Service about it. Complain. Do what you got to do. But they should be giving back, in my opinion. And again, this is just my opinion. You may disagree. But yeah, that's what I think we need to be doing. I think this pilot program is not being utilized at all in the Front Range. We have massive overuse compared to what it was before. I'm not going to say overuse. We just have a whole lot of use. And it requires a pilot program like this, where these outfitters can come in and clean and maintain. We all know it. We all utilize the trails, hiking and otherwise. And we see that there's trash out there. We see that there's off-trail activity. We see campfires and camps just left there. And it would be nice to have an outfitter in that particular area that could take care of that, to clean it, to maintain it, to repair it, and to help make that activity more sustainable in that particular area by policing it to some degree. And seeing, being able to have boots on the ground and see what the issue is, a particular given trail where there might be a lot of off-trail activity happening. A new route is being made by some Jeeps, and it gets used over and over and over again. And before long, it's just a whole nother trail that's not supposed to be there. And if there's someone there to do the work, they can block it before it becomes a problem. And the proper way to block an off-trail activity like that is to block it with natural obstacles, large boulders and trees. And that requires an outfitter who has the equipment to do that, or who has the resources to be able to rent the equipment to be able to do that, and work in conjunction with the Forest Service engineer to do it properly, to block that and to spread slash and other things across that trail, so that unauthorized trail, so that it can be rehabilitated, possibly reseeded. That's what this pilot program is supposed to be about. And it's a travesty that it's not being utilized along the Front Range, where it's absolutely needed. So, I guess the basis of this video is to help everybody understand that we need to respect one another and the use that we're into, and not take away from each other, but help each other become more sustainable at what we do. Work together as a team rather than against each other, rather than hikers hating dirt bike riders and dirt bike riders hating Jeepers because they move too slow. And, everybody's got something that they're into and things that they're not into. We need to respect one another and work together as a team, as people who utilize our public land for different uses, and help each other out so that we can, like I say, so that can all become more sustainable. That requires us to respect one another, be understanding to each other, have some compassion for one another, have some communications with the Forest Service about this pilot program, demand that it be put into place so we can all work together, the Forest Service, the public, the outfitters, working cohesively to make all these uses sustainable in our area and help keep it all cleaned up and maintained and repaired, so it's better for the future, so it's good for the coming generations. These uses are only going to grow. The Front Range is extremely popular. So many people are moving in. The growth hasn't stopped. It's not going to stop. So there's never a better time than now to do this and do it right and work together to make it happen. So if you have any questions or comments, you can put them down below. I'm a pretty easygoing guy. I understand and have respect for others. And I understand people's complaints about different things. We got to find a way to work together. And in the meantime, contact the Boulder Ranger District, the Canyon Lakes Ranger District, other ranger districts all along the Front Range from here to Pueblo. We absolutely need the pilot program to be utilized the way it should be. The federal government gave a directive. I believe that directive is being ignored. So let's work together. Let's work with the Forest Service and see if we can't make this thing better for all of us, for all of our types of uses. So with that, have a good day.